After visiting my good friend Randy from the Randy Nexus, he used mind control and got me to forget my charge brick at his house. So unfortunately, there was a couple of weeks there where I basically didn't have a charge brick for my MacBook because I had no interest in the MagSafe charge brick, and the one that comes with the MacBook Pro is just too darn pointless. It only has one USB-C port despite being 140 watts, not to mention that charge brick is absolutely massive, and I don't like MagSafe because oftentimes I'm charging my MacBook from the right side or the left side. So I complained about this online, and thankfully, Zyke decided to help me out. Not a sponsor. So yeah, I want people to remember that I can still be honest about third-party accessories, but I'm happy to say I've been rocking some of their latest product offerings for the past couple weeks, and I'm pretty impressed. This one is particularly compact. I mean, look at it next to a pair of AirPods Pro. Really not that large, probably close to the same size of an Apple 60-watt charge brick, and yet this one is still packing 140 watts, so it's been powering my MacBook as well as powering my iPhone or charging over-ear wired headphones, whatever you feel like charging, because it's got not one, not two, but 3 USB-C charge ports on the back. So if you are worried about fast charging and damaging your MacBook battery all the time, it actually has the wattage numbers for each port right at the bottom. So you know that USB 1 does 140 watts, USB 2 does 100 watts, but if you want something kind of chill, trickle charging in the background, well, the third USB-C port charges at 30 watts. Still plenty fast for any smartphone, of course, but I appreciate this because when we're traveling, I don't like having to carry around a bunch of separate charge bricks all the time, and now that my wife is rocking a USB-C iPhone, we can basically charge my MacBook, my iPhone, and her iPhone all with one charge brick, assuming we have the proper USB-C cables. So, but I wanted to be transparent with you guys, so I did look up what other options there are out there, and Zyke definitely doesn't have necessarily the cheapest 140 watt brick, but it does have a nice overall build quality feel to it. There's no creaks, there's no popping. It has a very dense construction, obviously, but there are some discount codes in the description below. I get no kickback from them. It's not like I get paid if you end up ordering them, but they just said, you know, showcase this thing on your channel, let people know what you think, and they gave me free reign over whatever I wanted to say, and they also said your viewers can have a discount code, so all of that stuff, of course, will be in the description below. But my one slight complaint, and this is kind of a running theme here with a lot of third-party accessories, and maybe some of you disagree with me on this, but you may notice on my charge brick, I've got a little black square at the top here. Yeah, that was not included with this product. That is just a charging light indicator, and I know some people might like having them, but not me, because I'm often sleeping in the same room that the charge brick is plugged into power with, and these darn charger lights get too freaking bright, and it just lights up the whole room, and sometimes you just want complete darkness. Sure, I could use an eye mask, but I need to know if Randy's gonna sneak into my place and use mind control on me again. So that's why no eye mask for me, but I will slap on a little bit of electrical tape anytime an accessory has some kind of charging light indicator on it. To be fair, I did the exact same thing with my MagSafe charger on my MacBook because that also would light up the room and I didn't want it doing that. So that's my one complaint is like when I plug something in, the device will tell me if it's charging or not. That's why I don't need a charging light indicator on here. But while Zyke didn't have necessarily the cheapest charge brick, it is pretty cool that they'll plant a tree for every one you buy. So there's a little bit more of an environmental impact, I suppose, from buying this compared to just the cheapest one you find on Amazon. But what actually Zyke did have in regards to the affordability department that I looked around on Amazon, I looked around at other places, this was actually the cheapest 2-meter USB-C braided cable I could find that supports up to 240 watts. So way more than this thing could output. So there's a little bit of future proofing here, which is good because it is strong. This thing is durable, feels like, you know, mountain climbing cord, and not only is the braided cable section very durable, but the end points of the USB-C ports also feel very, very rigid. They've protected them well. They feel a lot more durable and strong than the USB-C cables that Apple sells, which are also more expensive. And with the discount code and everything, you can basically buy this for like 15 bucks. It's hard to find USB-C cables with that high a power delivery system that are braided and durable like like this. If you're in a situation where you feel like, man, every time I want to plug in my phone, the cable's just too short and I want something strong and durable that doesn't wear out, that has longevity built into it, so whether I'm charging an iPad, a MacBook, or who knows, some future hypothetical fast charging laptop that can pull over 200 watts, this thing has you covered. I've been using it to charge my MacBook for the past couple weeks, and yes, it works flawlessly. And of course, it's great that there's no charging indicator light. Thank you, Zyke, for sending it, and thank you for the discount code to my viewers as well. That's awesome. But they also wanted me to try out another 3-in-1 charging system that I've never really had before. This is basically the AirPower we never got, except it's a lot more practical because your phone can be mounted here thanks to Qi 2 compatibility. So this thing will wirelessly charge your iPhone at up to 15 watts. It also has the fast charging capabilities for Apple Watches if you have those, but if you don't wear an Apple Watch like me, you can also use it to charge AirPods 4 or AirPods Pro 2, anything with that Apple Watch charging connectivity. Plus, they still have an extra regular Qi pad right next to it that goes up to 7.5 watts if you're the kind of person who just has older pairs of AirPods, or you have just a secondary Android phone that you'd also like to wirelessly charge at the same time. And in theory, I understand this is a pretty decent product and concept, but I'm just sending out a warning out there to accessory companies that want their products featured on this channel. I'm gonna be honest, because I don't sign contracts. Zyke is watching this video at the same time as you guys. They're not getting a special preview. And I hate to say that this one actually kind of disappointed me a bit, which is a shame because I was kind of excited to test it. But for one, yes, even more so than a charge brick, which is usually down low in a bedroom, this thing is usually going to be on people's nightstands, right? Like right where they're sleeping. And there's a charging light that just wants to pulse back and forth all night. That makes it very hard to sleep and know if the Randy is coming. So that was kind of a miss in my book, so I just slapped another piece of electrical tape on there. The other downside is it doesn't have a very premium feel. Like right out of the box, I could feel a bit of creaking, you know? It just doesn't carry that same rigidity feel that this Zyke charge brick does. So it just kind of feels hollow on the inside. And on top of that, it's a shame that they sent me this amazing USB-C charge brick. We get USB-A out of my life, please. And yet this thing requires a barrel plug connection at the bottom. It doesn't take USB-C. Now, thankfully, it does include the charge brick because I've seen online there are some cheaper 3-in-1 chargers out there that don't include a charge brick. But still, I wouldn't have minded if this was substantially cheaper and just worked with the Zyke 3-in-1 charge brick so that I could just use the second port that does up to 100 watts, which is plenty for this, by the way. I looked at that other charge brick. It's only pulling like 45 watts. So I don't know why they couldn't just put a little USB-C port on the back here. That would have simplified my surge protector a lot more. I mean, it does function. It does physically work. I mean, it charges my phone, it mounts it in place, and it doesn't move around too much when I'm tapping my phone or I'm using it in nightstand mode. It does charge my wife's Apple Watch. I tested that, and it can do all three at the same time without getting too hot. So yes, the product does function, but I just think there's a lot more room for improvement on the build quality. It could take up less space on a desk. It could be a little more sturdy and heavier. USB-C would make a big difference, but unfortunately, that's not my biggest problem with it. The biggest problem, which is arguably a deal breaker, is a guy who has sensitive ears like me. This thing plays an incredibly high-pitched hissing sound every time it gets plugged in, and I thought maybe it was just a new product and it needed to be broken in a little bit, but no, after several weeks of using this thing, it still makes that really high-pitched sound. If anybody out there knows what those kind of like outdoor ultrasonic deer repellent sounds are, it kind of sounds like that, which is why I'm not surprised they're shipping them like this, because there's probably a lot of people out there who can't hear that high-pitching noise. I know my parents definitely couldn't, and older people usually don't catch as many frequencies, so maybe after a certain number of years, I won't mind this. And again, maybe I'm being picky because I've had it on my nightstand for the past couple of weeks and my wife has never commented on it. She's never noticed it. And if you run like a air conditioner at night, or if you have a fan blowing on you, that pretty much covers it up and then you can't hear this at all. But if it's dead quiet in the room, it does make a little bit of a high-pitched hissing sound. And I looked up reviews. I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one hearing this noise. I unfortunately just can't really recommend the 3-in-1 charger. I'm sorry, Zyke. I wish I could, but I figured that your reasonable company, so you'd probably appreciate the honesty and hopefully can improve upon this for the next generation, and I'd love to check it out whenever that's ready. But the concept of 3-in-1 chargers are one that I really haven't pursued or analyzed in depth as much as I should on this channel, because this is an accessory that a lot of people out there are looking for. How do I get one thing that can charge everything? But I just think this product and this product need to work together. It's a shame that they don't. It's a shame that it requires a barrel plug, and there are unfortunately much cheaper 3-in-1 solutions out there that have much better reviews. So I'm gonna recommend you buy those. Sorry, but also not sorry to the third-party companies out there. A lot of you guys want to send me stuff, but you have to remember that if you send me something, I'm gonna tell you what I feel, and that means I'm gonna say good things when the product is good. I'm loving this combo. It's been working great, but I'm also gonna give you some constructive feedback when I believe it is deserved. Anywho, thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Alp Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.